I like that bumper you got on that thing.
I know, it came on it. And somebody was like, now I called Snug Lid because I wanted some replacement rubber. And they're like, sir, we haven't made that since 2009. They're like, we don't have replacement stuff for it. I'm going to grab you the paperwork.
So what are you doing to give this thing away?
Merch. 500 entries. You go to my website and you buy a shirt, a hat, a sticker. Here.
Aftermarket coilovers.
What now?
Aftermarket coilovers.
Yes, I put those on. Those are adjustables. I did drilled and slotted rotors, new alternator, new AC compressor. I haven't hit the water pump yet, and I've got... So originally, I found some water on the top of this crossover tube. And that's when they were like, oh, it's O-rings. So I ordered the O-rings, but then I had the head gasket issue.
Yeah, you do all that at the same time.
Yes. So I haven't done that yet. Now this is what originally was done when they rebuilt the motor, but I don't know what all that actually, some of the parts I know, some I don't. I don't know if they maybe missed something or just from sitting. Or maybe mileage.
How many miles was on it when you did it?
186.
How many miles on it now?
To 254.
Well, the problem is, whenever they did it,
Okay.
they put factory head gaskets back on.
They did not do the three-piece gasket.
Right, well, so I use a head gasket called 6-star.
Okay.
And using those head gaskets, I've never had another issue.
Okay.
After the fact. So they had really bad issues with head gaskets on these motors in the earlier years, to the point where they were putting not stop leak, but like a conditioner in the coolant and all to try to fix it.
Okay.
And then they went back to the drawing table and came out with an upgraded gasket.
Now, do you think that year would be the upgraded gasket, or do you think it's probably just the factory?
Went right back to the factory.
Okay, which is why it failed again, which I've been told. If you put the factory back in, it's going to fail.
You're going to get another 100,000 miles and it's going to go.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, I stick to 6-star stuff, and you won't have a problem.
Okay.
But it looks like they actually rebuilt the piston rings and everything. So they actually split the block open and took the pistons out.
And did everything.
And everything in it, sealed it all back up.
Gotcha.
Which normally they don't do. Normally they'll just, if you're going to do all that, they'll just sell you a new block.
Okay. Which would make more sense.
Right, I mean, that's kind of surprising.
Okay. Does the price look right, or did they maybe have insurance that covered part of it, which is why they split it?
The labor looks about right. This was in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
about $5,000.
Right. So the labor looks about right for that year. It's higher now.
Okay.
But at this point, if you were to come to me with this, I wouldn't rebuild that block like that. I would just get another block.
Okay.
You can get a block for $2,200.
Now, with all this work done, the block should not need to be rebuilt.
No, it shouldn't be.
Because the head gasket went, but it did not overheat.
Right.
Well, I never went over.
I've never had one overheat to the point where the block was bad.
Okay.
Now the heads, yes, I'd have to send them off and get them leveled out and resurfaced. But as far as resurfacing a block or anything, I've never had to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is your normal head gasket job, except they put new piston rings and all that inside there.
As well at the same time. Okay.
Which, like I said, it's not normal. Maybe in 2014 it was.
But it's not normal now.
Because you look at that price, a new block will cost you $2,000.
So they could have just bought the
$20,000.
block and ready to
put all the stuff
go.
on it, and you had a brand new block instead of rebuilding it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah, other than that, it looks pretty good. So as far as your head gasket issues, is it not overheat until you drive for a long time type thing?
It actually did it worse when we had those 110 degree days. And now that we're back down 80s and below, it doesn't at all. In fact, I'm not even at this point pushing my fluid back at the cooler temperatures.
So the reason behind that, I'm sorry.
You're good.
The reason behind that is because when this thing gets hot in these hotter days, it expands. So
The metal expands.
It'll get hotter on a hotter day, so it expands more.
Okay.
Which is giving you that point, that limit to where it's expanded enough
that it's actually pushing fluid.
There's a
pressure.
point of travel in that gasket.
Yes.
That only allows something to go through once it expands enough. So on the hotter days, it opens up and it allows it to go through, and then you'll have the overheat.
And on the cooler
days, it won't expand as much because it's not as hot, so it's not allowing it to go through.
Okay.
So
see, and I actually never even noticed an overheating issue, but because it's a new car to me, and it's a classic at this point, so it's got miles on it. I check the fluids religiously, and what I noticed is, all that fluid's in my overflow. And it was the exact same amount when I poured it back into the radiator.
Well, because what happens is, and that tells me what your head gasket's doing.
Okay.
So you have a path that runs from your piston. So if you imagine your gasket in there.
Yep.
Somewhere around your piston, probably near the bottom, because you've got your coolant openings on your heads and your block at the bottom.
Okay.
So you've got a path that runs from your cylinder to that coolant hole.
Gotcha.
And basically it's acting like a bicycle pump. Every time
like a ram, it's just ramming that pressure in there. Yep.
Into the coolant system via the head gasket and block. The block.
Yeah.
So this is only rated at 3 psi. So your system should not go to 3 psi.
Okay.
As that's pumping, it's pumping it over 3 psi. So this acts as a valve. It opens up and allows the pressure to go into here, so it doesn't blow your radiator or your hoses or anything else.
Okay.
And that's why you'll see the overflow fill up, start boiling. Sometimes the cap will even blow off, and it'll be all up under your hood and everywhere.
Gotcha.
So
that didn't take long to
so that's where that comes from. Now I will tell you, as far as the overheating issue, you might not have it now because it's cooler.
Okay.
But if you're going, like if you drive from here to Florida,
done that.
You're taking the chance of that overheating happening.
Yes. So,
the longer the
I fully
motor
understand that. Yeah.
Gets, the bigger chance you're having the overheating problem.
Having an overheating issue.
Now, in the wintertime, it's going to be less problem because it's cooler. But if you were to go try to drive to Florida in the summertime, probably not going to get too far.
Gotcha.
But it will eventually get worse to the point where you're just going to have to replace it.
Oh, yeah. Anything else on a Subi to kind of check that's something that, was a problem with the models or upgrades that...
No, the common issues are wheel bearings, head gaskets, your charcoal canister, that's a normal problem.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what
And how often should that be changed? Is there a maintenance schedule?
No, there's not really a maintenance schedule on that. So.
And can I get a new one?
You can get a new one.
Okay.
Put it in. But what happens with that is people go to the gas pump. So basically that charcoal canister, number one, it filters the fumes of the gas.
Okay.
So it's not so smelly.
So it's actually hooked to the tank and more like a vapor filter.
Right. So, and you've got vents that vent out so that when you fill the gas tank up, the air goes out so it doesn't, have head pressure and stop. So what happens is a lot of people will fill their tank up, and when that gas pump clicks the first time, they'll keep going and trying to keep topping it
Oh,
up,
and they're
topping it
putting
up.
fuel
and
in.
then the fuel gets up towards the vent, which gets it wet. And then dirt will start getting in there and it'll clog it up. And then the problem you'll have is you'll go on an empty tank, put the gas pump in there, hit it, and it'll click, and you ain't even put but 5 cents in there. And then you hit it again, and it'll click. So you can only pump 20 cents at a time because it's not venting. It's not
We had a
allowing.
Dodge that was doing that.
And that's where that issue comes from.
Okay.
So yeah, the head gaskets, the charcoals, the wheel bearings.
Front and rear, or just fronts?
Just
or
the rear.
Just the rear.
Yeah. Now you'll every now and then you'll have a front, but the rears are always going.
Okay.
The older ones like this are a little bit better because they're press ins. You have to have you use your old hub and actually press the bearing in and then press the hub in.
The
newer ones you just unbolt the whole thing and put the whole thing up. So these are actually a little bit better as far as lasting.
So really don't, if you have them, don't change to the bolt-in?
You don't need to change them until you'll hear like a roaring sound. Like
I'm hearing that.
Like you got mud tires on it. Like roar.
Well, I'm hearing that, but I have winter tires on.
But and as you slow down, you typically won't hear it until you hit about 40, and it'll just be a roar.
Okay.
And then when you come to a stop light and you're slowing down, it'll slow down with it. It'll roar. And it can be a little bit louder as you come slower down.
Okay.
But the best way to...
Now, can you tell that from hearing?
Yeah.
If we went for a drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the best way, I mean, I can tell if it's the wheel bearings or not. But then you just got to put the whole car up, run it, and then listen next to each tire
to figure out which one.
Right.
Gotcha.
So, but overall, those are all the issues, the common issues.
Okay. Rear wheel bearings, which I haven't done yet. I did the fronts.
Right.
And the ball joints in the front. Well, all the front suspension. Except I could not get the trailing arms. Now, the ones that go from the A-frame back,
Right.
and those bushings are shot, gone, shot. Now, the only other thing I could do is do some sort of a lift that included the new trailing arms. Or do you know of...
I don't know. You can check LP Adventure.
LP Adventure, okay.
So they specifically make lifts for Subarus.
Okay.
I do not know if they go back this late though.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of Bajas either. It's not got to be a big booming business.
That would be,
but it does cross to the Forester and the Legacy?
It does. The Legacy and this have the same frame.
Okay.
So there's a possibility. I would check. If anybody does, it'd be that.
Okay.
I just don't know if they go back that far. But yeah, I had one of these. Like I said, I had the two-tone gray and silver turbo model.
Okay, yeah. 5-speed? Were they 5 speeds back then? Okay.
But it was I miss it.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't want, I'm 50. I really didn't want a manual at this point. I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want an automatic.
Well, I took that thing on the beach one time, and man, everybody just told me I was going to get stuck. Wouldn't make it past the asphalt.
They told me that with this one.
That thing hit, and it stopped. But it sat right there and just dug down and down and just hopped out and went across the beach like a rabbit. Everybody's out there in Jeeps and trucks and 35-inch tires and I'm passing everybody. They're just like, what was that?
This did great on the beach, and then I went up in the mountains, and I went down to check out this nice little picnic area. And what I didn't realize is when it went in vertically, there was a big hole, like a big hole, 2 foot. So when I came out, I was trying to do it on 3 wheels.
Right.
And that was a little more difficult. That's when I was like, I wish I had a locking torque, center torque. Is it the center they make locking, center diff?
Well, I mean, they'll make the rear diff lock. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty easy engine. Considering the Subaru engines, this is the easiest one to fix.
To work on?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And head gaskets, you would pull the motor out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd pull
That's what I've heard. I mean, you can do it inside, but it really sucks.
In the beginning, that's how I did them all.
Okay.
But when you do it like that, you're not resealing the oil pan. You're not doing the rear main seal.
You're not,
you know what I mean?
okay,
Right,
yes.
So you're not overhauling.
So really, if we pull
Right.
the motor at that time, we want to reseal everything, check.
I do absolutely. Yeah,
Check all the pulleys
gasket,
and everything.
Right, every gasket, every seal, anything that I've got to, seal with liquid seal.
Okay.
So when I do it, absolutely everything gets changed. I mean, all the way to your O-rings for your, so.
And so
reseal.
all I have to go by is this old price.
For this motor.
So what would I be looking at if I said Willie really doesn't want to do this? I'm just going to drop it off.
Have you done your timing belt?
I have not done the timing belt yet, no. No, I haven't done. I'd like to do the water pump for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
I haven't done the timing belt, and I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure the rear seal leaks and the oil pan.
So
They just started, but it sat. It sat for 4 years, so I expected anytime a car
sits. The entire
sits.
head gasket kit and reseal.
Yeah.
The kit itself is about $525.
Okay.
And that includes everything to reseal the motor with.
Okay.
Then I also replaced the spark plugs. Those are about $25 to $30. And then my labor, I charge 15 hours at $85 an hour. So I think that comes out to about 13 or 15, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Total, when you add, now your time and equipment is $350, so that gets up there.
Yeah.
That's all your pulleys, your belt, and everything.
Okay.
Tensioner.
Oh, it includes all
That's all of
tensioners and everything new. Okay.
So that's $350. And then your water pump is probably about $40 to $50. So if you're replacing absolutely everything, then I would say you're probably around the $2,500 range.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not god awful.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I do it, you're completely resealed and redone. So you should be able to go 100,000 miles and never see an oil leak or anything.
Okay.
But I also do a 1-year warranty on all my labor. So if you do see an oil leak or something, you bring
Just
it back.
holler at you. Okay.
It broke. I'll fix it. But yeah, that's how it goes. And my turnaround on those is typically about a day and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
From the time it's dropped
as long as I
off?
don't have something in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I couldn't get it out in a day and a half. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well,
I'm thinking that's like at least a day and a half just to get it out.
If you want me to be honest with you, now,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 13 years.
Okay, see, I've never worked on one of these.
I can have that motor out in an hour.
Okay.
Tore apart and broke down in about 3.
Okay.
Now, when you go back together, you're a little slower because you got to clean everything.
Yes.
So that's a little bit slower. But as far as pulling it out, having it on end stand and tore it apart,
Okay.
I can have it completely ripped down in 3 hours.
Wow.
But
You've been doing it for
right,
yes.
I've also got a sequence. You know what I mean? I'll start right here and I'll work my way all the way around the engine. And when I get to that point,
Will you take pretty much everything that's
no.
out, or just the air
Take
filter?
This box off.
Yeah.
The power steering pump I'll throw to the side,
Okay.
and the radiator and the fans come out.
Same with AC, just unbolt it and lay it out?
I'll take the lines loose.
Okay, so you'll have to evac it, save everything, and then, okay.
So
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking there's no way to lean that out of the way. And
yep. So basically, I'll take everything all the way around the motor loose from it, and then on the bottom side, drop the exhaust,
okay.
pull the starter out, and then pull it out.
And then just unbolt it from the tranny?
Do the bell housing, pull it on out. I start underneath, and then when I get up top, I work around. By the time I get that side, it's time to come out.
Did you take your front support and the radiator and all
Well,
that?
I'll take these loose and then pull the whole radiator out.
Just the radiator.
Yeah, that
leave
way,
it.
when you're picking up and coming out, you got room, that much more room.
Gotcha.
Plus, you're not taking the chance of cracking the radiator or beating on it or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
And we're looking at realistically, because I'm a realistic person, no more than 7 days, start to finish.
7 days away.
Start to finish. From the minute it's dropped off. If everything went wrong, if everything went wrong for you and customers came in and,
Yeah, well, I'd say if everything went wrong, I would still say it wouldn't be no more than 3 days.
Okay.
I'm the kind of guy that'll stay late. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I got stuff to do. I'm not, if If I
If
don't
you can
have
get
time
it
to go home and
done.
lay down, I'm still working. You know what I mean?
Okay. Awesome.
So that's one thing that I do pride myself on is turnaround time, because I mean I've been in this industry a lot and I've seen a lot. So people will drop their cars off and they'll be there 3 days and they'll call and check. Oh, I'm sorry, man, we hadn't even got to be able to look at it. Or
Paint shop
yeah,
had my truck for a custom paint job for 4 or 5 months.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's super inconvenient for somebody trying to live their life on a daily
Yeah.
basis. So I do my best to
Okay.
turn around and get it out.
Okay.
And that goes a long way. Especially when you can do that and you don't have any problems.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that day and a half, just like even when it came out of your mouth, I was like, oh my gosh, it just scares me a day and a half.
If you go pull up and look at my reviews, I've got 2 or 3 customers that have done that, and that's what they
For a day and a half. Okay.
built my motor in one day, 24 hours. This guy, that's how I met him and got this place.
Okay.
He's got a
That's how you met
Subaru.
Jay?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and he had a head gasket problem, and I rebuilt it in 24
In
hours.
24 hours, and he's like, "This is incredible." Yeah, because that is incredible.
So
Awesome.
it's I actually put a turbo block in his.
Oh, okay. So
I
it's
had
a stronger block.
It's thicker.
Is his naturally aspirated as
Yes,
well?
yeah.
So his block's going to last for forever.
It's
I
thicker.
mean,
So
yeah.
I've got a buddy that rebuilds them, tears them apart. He really does WRXs and STIs and stuff.
Okay.
But he has, normal blocks that he jigs.
I saw somebody do a WRX in one of these.
Well,
But that's
you
got to
can
be a
use-
major...
But no, you don't have to do all that. All
Okay.
I'm talking about, I didn't transfer anything. I just used
Use
the
the block, but
And
I've seen
capped
people
off.
that actually
Yeah.
replace
Yeah, you
everything
get
with
into a lot of
WRX,
stuff.
and
Yeah,
that's a
you
lot of brain boxes and everything got to be
change
changed.
transmissions, rear ends, all kinds. So
Everything, okay, all the way
you
through.
might as well just go buy a WRX.
And then
Unless
just
you're
pull the body and do a body swap. Okay, so he's got a turbo block. So if we got mine apart and you were like, oh man, this has some, questionable looks on the inside.
Well, the only thing that would make me do that, number one, if they truly rebuilt it,
Yeah.
you shouldn't see anything.
Correct.
But you would see on the piston walls, you'd see a rub spot or a flat spot or something like that.
And at that point, you do a new block versus
Yeah,
sleeve it,
I wouldn't-
right?
Yeah, I don't mess with that.
Okay.
Because you're just looking for problems further down the road. It might be
Okay.
great for a year or two, but what
And
about
then
6 or
it's
7?
going to be an issue. Okay.
Right. So, yeah, I'm a new block guy.
Okay.
And even if it's not blue or new, like I said, my guy that rebuilds them,
Yes.
he puts harder bearings and stuff in the crankshaft and everything. So honestly, if he's got
so
one
they
available, I
are
go
a
with him
little
over
better. They're
Subaru.
better
Well,
built.
they're just stronger.
Yeah.
They got better parts in them.
Okay.
And he also ports out the oil holes so you get more oil
Flow through it.
Right.
Okay.
So
A lot of little torques to it to make it better.
also, if something goes wrong, I don't have to go through a bunch of stuff. Dealing with Subaru, trying to get them to warranty it. Oh, did you do this, do that? And I just take it there and say, hey, give me another block.
This one wasn't any good. Yeah, it happens. And see, that's sometimes when you get into like a rebuild like this, if they don't surface the headlights or anything's wrong, you're not going to get a good longevity out of it.
But you also should have the reasoning. You know what I mean? If you've never ever heated this car,
Yeah.
If it overheated and you cut it off immediately, you shouldn't have to resurface it. Now, if I take it off and there's a bunch of pitting in it and stuff just from age, then yeah, we'll resurface it.
Okay.
But it all depends. But yeah, this is an easy one.
Awesome.
We need easy.
I like easy
I
ones.
say easy too.
So you're actually doing the
here's-
labor.
Here's the thing the mechanic goes by. Every easy job is one broken bolt away from a 3-day ordeal.
Amen.
No.
That's
Look,
it.
so I went to change the front ball joints. I'm sure you've heard this. So the bolt breaks. So then I go to a local mechanic and I said,
Yeah,
can you get it out? And he said, well, it might crack. And I said, yeah, I already know that. Like, I've done this work before. I said, just give it a shot. But sure enough, it cracked. And then it's sitting there. So then I had to run to a junkyard and pull 2 off a Forester and race back to town.
The trick to that is you got to get a torch, like a real oxygen acetylene torch.
To get it red
You
enough.
don't heat the bolt.
Okay.
You heat the housing on the back side because you can see where you got one hole and another hole, and that bolt goes through, and you can see the crack.
Threads, yes.
You just heat that housing up to the point where you start and see it bubble and act like it wants to start liquefying and moving.
Okay.
Do that on both sides, and then put your ratchet on it, and it'll break loose.
Every time. Okay. Okay. Another tool I have to get. Or
that's one I got to get.
Or you know, like I don't have one either yet. Yeah.
But there's all kinds of
Awesome.
little tricks, and that's why I can say I can pull it in an hour or two or whatever.
Yes.
There's nothing that hasn't happened that I don't already foresee coming or dealt with or gotten over or know how to get. You know what I mean? I've
Get
already
around.
been through all those.
Yep.
Awesome.
Those defeats. So,
Learning. Learning. Yeah. Not defeat.
it takes a
Learning.
Learning.
Okay. Well, I think we have a decent little plan. And I think my plan was pretty good, that reseal everything and I go through everything at the same time it's out.
I mean, you're guaranteeing it, and you're not doing a half-assed job.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's no point in doing all that, and then you've got a rear main seal leak, or your crossover pipes are leaking, or you got a misfire because you didn't redo spark. It's just, you know what I mean? You can walk around the motor. You might
It's
as well
out. Do everything you possibly can. Yes.
It's going to be more expensive if you did.
Now, I know you guys are in the same hub. Do you two kind of work together?
No, I mean, business-wise, we're completely separate.
Okay. Does he paint blocks that, like, if you had it all out, you could have it painted at the same
sure
time?
He could.
Okay.
I never asked him.
Okay.
But I don't see why. I mean, that guy is super uber talented.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to air guns and stuff, man, it's stuff he does. I've had to go walk up to and touch because I could have swore it was wrapped. You know?
Oh, and it's paint.
It's all hand painted.
Okay.
Yeah, it's insane stuff he does. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't.
Okay.
That'd be cool. But I'm gonna get him to actually possibly paint some of that transmission.
Oh, for the table? Yeah. Really nice.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be kind of neat. I got all the gears from the inside of it. I have them all tack welded together.
Okay.
And then we stick it down in the rear of the transmission, and then put a piece of glass on top of it.
On top. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I like what I think. That bumpery stuff on
I still have to weld in. Now that's welded to the factory bumper guard, so you can unbolt it and go back to the factory if you wanted to. But I'm still going to weld plates in to tie it into the side, so that it all kind of flows and doesn't look like somebody stuck a Jeep bumper on the front.
No, you can find a lift for this thing. I mean, I've seen them before with it. So you can find it. You just gonna have to dig around.
Yes. Yeah, I did the coil lifts. I didn't like that on top of the shock towers. That was a horrible ride.
I mean, you never go wrong with an actual lift. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Now, have you had one with a subframe lift?
No.
Okay.
No, I was too poor to do that kind of stuff. Oh, that's how I learned mechanics. I had to fix my own stuff.
That's how I learned too. Oh yeah.
I go to the shop and said, "Oh, that'll be $800." I'm gonna get my hands manual and go in the front yard and use this oak tree.
Yeah, fix it. Yeah, that's how I learned too. Are all Subi patterns still, bolt patterns for the wheels still the same? So I could upgrade to newer, taller wheels if I wanted.
Now you could probably get some rubbing
Well,
after you got the lift.
yeah, after I got the lift. After I got the lift. Are these both yours?
This one's mine. That's yours. I got to put a torque on there. That's a common issue with those years.
With that year?
Well, those from that year, which that's a 2004, I think.
Okay.
So from that to about 2014, your coming to a red light, stopping, and you feel it go.
Same transmission or
no.
torque converter?
No, it's different.
They are different.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep. They got a whole new set of issues compared. You know what I mean? It's just like a whole nother book.
I've got one more question for you too. So I had the rear end fluid changed, and then I checked it, and it was high, way high.
Yeah. Well,
So
when you say way high, you took that top
and it poured out. But is that connected to the, like, all the way through to the transmission? And there's a
It's
seal?
self-contained inside of that.
There's no seal in that tube.
Well, there's a seal inside of the front side of the differential. So where you're
Yes. So like almost like a regular car where you would just have your drive shaft coming out.
Right,
The whole
it's a
back
drive
end is
shaft.
actually sealed in a pumpkin.
It's one.
Okay, it had that tube, and then I thought, well, did all this extra fluid come, from
No,
upline or something?
The worst thing that's going to do is just kind of give it a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for?
Drag, so lower
a little
fuel
bit 'cause
mileage.
There's more in it, you know what I mean? So it doesn't have as much room to move around. So it might.
And do you have a fluid you recommend?
I just recommend it.
Just gear lube.
Yeah, just
It doesn't.
gear
There's
lube.
no.
It's 75 or 95, 75, 90.
Yeah, I didn't know if Red Line or
No.
Royal Purple, anyone was seeing better fuel mileage or anything like that.
Royal Purple is good and dangerous.
Oh,
It's good because it's a very good product. And it will clean your motor like you've never seen.
okay.
But it's scary because if you've never used it and you got 250,000 miles on it, you just decide you want to go Royal Purple and you start making everything loose and come loose and running through the system. And
Oh, all at the same time.
Right. So you gotta be careful with that with the older vehicles.
Okay.
But as far as the product, it's an outstanding product. But no, your front and rear differentials, as long as you're putting gear oil in them, I change them you're supposed to change them every 30,000 miles.
Oh, every 30. Okay. Okay.
Well, every 30,000 miles, you're supposed to change every fluid in the car.
Even with synthetics. Okay.
Every single fluid in the car.
Okay.
And then
How many have you been doing that? I've not been doing that. Not 30. I've got more than 30 since I bought it.
So,
Well, it's been
yeah.
changed twice since I bought it.
Well,
So
every 30,000 miles,
might
you're
be
supposed to do every
close.
fluid in the car, including your filters, your cabin air filter and your engine air filter, and your brake flush, all that. And in that year, your fuel filter as well. Now, when you get to 60,000 miles, you do the same thing. You just add your spark plugs.
Okay.
So and that's just a repetitive
Rotate
process.
back and forth, back and
But
forth.
I also tell people too, because it gets expensive. I mean, that 60,000 mile service can be $800-900.
Okay.
So I also tell people, you can break it up. If you're at 30,000, do your front and rear differential. Your next oil change, maybe do your filters. Next oil change, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
now, if you do it that way, you got to keep track of what you did, or the person that does it for you. Make sure you keep track of all that, so you get to the end of it. But then you got people at the same time just want everything on the same level and
Yes.
just get it done. So.
Or people that never do it. What? Maintenance? What does that word?
Well, listen.
Filter.
You just put gas in it and drive it.
And that's the difference between people now. I mean, in my years,
Okay.
you'll have people come in that are on top of everything, and their car is great. If I come in and say, "Hey, you got an oil leak here," okay, what's it going to take to fix it? Fix it. You got a wheel bearing bad here. All right, let's get it fixed. They stay on top of it, and 10, 15 years, their car is still good to go.
Yes.
Then you have the other people that'll come in for oil changes. You tell them this is wrong, this is wrong. Oh, I'm not going to take care of that.
I'm not fixing
I'll
all
do it
the
next
stuff
time.
I got to do.
Then next time they'll come and I say, hey, you got this starting. It's not an issue right now, but it's starting. You got to keep that in mind. They do that constantly, and then at the end of it, I rack up this estimate, and there's $3,000, $2,000, $3,000 estimate to replace all the stuff I've been telling about. And then it's all said, man, these Subaru cars ain't no good.
And they've not done it. You can't buy
haven't fixed
anything with any.
anything, you know?
Yes, everything
Yeah,
requires
you just let
maintenance.
This molehill turn into this mountain, and now the car's not no good in your mind. No, that's not the way it works. So, yeah, I mean, it's cheaper to stay on top of it,
And do little bits.
And not only that, when you go to sell it, when you do say it's a crap car, you're not. Somebody gets under and takes it to the mechanic, sees all the oil leaking, and this wrong, that wrong.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's in your best interest
To keep
to stay
it
on
up.
top of it, whether it's now or at the end of things. So
Awesome.
that's Subaru in a nutshell.
And how much lead time? If I want to like just drop it off and pick it back up, let's say 2 days later, if I call you 2 weeks ahead of time, could you fit me in the schedule?
To do what?
To do the
Head gaskets?
head gaskets, yeah.
So for the people out there, this probably is not going to be for everybody.
Okay.
Like I
Okay.
said, is I can have it done in 2 days tops,
Yes.
and I stick to that.
Okay.
So whenever the way I got things is I schedule things to where I'm doing something like this. I won't schedule anything for that day.
Okay.
Or for half that next day. At the end of that second day, I might schedule an oil change or something like that. I
Yeah.
can get done. That way, I'm not ever working on something and then I go walk over here because I got this guy coming in and I got to finish that.
Yes.
Then he's leaving in 30 minutes. I got this other guy.
Which-
And once those two are gone, now I can get back on your. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Because number one, that's how you forget things or
Oh, yeah.
or you know what I mean, and get turned around sideways. So I focus on the one car, and when it's out in my face, then I go to the next one.
Okay.
And that's just the way I do things.
So regular customer, if they needed head gaskets and called you a week ahead of time and said, can you get me on the schedule?
Right, parts usually take a week to come in.
Okay.
5 days.
Yeah.
So if we order the parts.
So even if we
Right.
schedule it today,
schedule
it's going
it
to
today,
be
it's gonna be
5
5
days
days
before the
before
parts get here. Okay.
But once the parts get here, 2 days max after that.
Okay.
For me.
Gotcha.
For the normal person, it'd be 4 days, 5 days,
Yeah.
depending on how much cars they have or how big the shop is or whatnot. But
Okay.
I like to keep it small and see-through and simple,
Awesome. Awesome. Very nice to meet you.
No problem.
Very nice to meet you.
No problem. I appreciate it.
And now,
I've been part of those shops, and they're great. They're really good, especially the one I come from. But they've got 6 bays, 6 mechanics, and all that, and the one I'm talking about do a fantastic job. But it just takes them longer to get your car because they got so much. They got 6 mechanics to feed and so many people coming in.
yes.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just like to keep it personal,
Very simple,
and,
in and out.
You're talking to the mechanic, the owner, the parts guy. I'm the whole show.
You're like me.
So,
You're
yeah,
everything.
Yeah. So there's no you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get out of your hair
No problem, man. I
once you
appreciate
get
it.
back to
If
work.
you decide you want to go at it, we can do it. You
Awesome.
can tape that too if you want.
Yeah, I would
See how
love
that
to.
goes. Let's make sure I got everything cleaned up and nice.
Well, we'll come down. Look, if that happens, we'll come down and help you clean.
Yeah.
You just say, that needs to go there. I'm good at that.
I got to get that thing done, which I got most.
That's
of
a
it.
hard thing when you're by yourself, is keeping everything clean and still being productive. And
Yeah. And well, I say no right now,
I know.
because I'm keeping a nice little flow in. You know what I mean? Not enough to overwhelm me.
Ah, okay.
Now, if I start getting to where it's
You're packed.
bothered, then yeah, it will become an issue.
Yeah.
I'll have somebody behind that desk at that point in time.
Yeah.
At least answer the phone and schedule.
Yeah.
Let me stay back there.
And
fix the
work.
car.
Do what you do.
Right. All right, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you too.
Okay, let's see if Jake's here. Oh, he's not? Okay. Then we'll come back because I want to get a quote from him too on the extra
I'll
vinyl.
text him and see when he's going to be in the shop. I'll tell him we were just here. Where are you?
Okay.
That's why I went to the restroom. Nobody's back there because I was going to say hey to him.
Oh, okay. No one's there?
The door's locked in the front. No one has their
Oh, okay.
So that's how, yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to come out that way.
Yeah, I knew his door was, I just figured he was in back working.
No, he's not back there.
Gotcha.
I went to the back. He's
Okay.
not there.
So guys, I think our plan is great. The only thing that may be changing in that plan is, well, Willie might not be doing it himself, because if Willie can make that money and pay him to do it, he's an
Willie's
expert.
Yep.
So he's going to be able to look at the block and tell if there's any issues, which I'm telling you right now, it'll be the first time I've ever even looked in a Subaru block. I've looked in other blocks, but you know, all blocks are not the same. The holes are different shapes and sizes, and you fit in and out of them different ways.